Welcome to the Power of Local podcast. My name is Dan. I'll be your host and guide for today's conversation. And in this episode, I'm joined by...
Hi, I'm Dr. Heidi. I'm the Managing Director of Philippines Flying Labs.
Just to get to know you a bit more, where did you grow up and what was your childhood like?
I grew up in the Philippines. I finished high school in Philippine Science High School, and then I went to the University of the Philippines to take molecular biology and biotechnology. But then my path deviated. I decided to go into medical school here in the Philippines. And then I did my pediatric residency in New York, and I practiced in the US for 15 years as a pediatrician in Arlington, Virginia. And then I came back to the Philippines, and now I'm full time doing NGO work, where I lead two NGOs. The regional one was Remote Area Medical, where I bring medical doctors to the remote areas of the country, mostly conflict areas now. That's our specialization. And Philippines Flying Labs, where we use innovative technologies such as drones, machine learning, to help to address common social good problems. Yeah.
Given your whole medical background, do you remember the first time that you come to interact with drones? And what was that experience like for you?
Well, definitely, I think with most people right now, our first knowledge of drone was for pictures, taking videos, definitely more for surveying mappings. That's my first introduction with the drone technology.
Can you remember the year that you joined?
I think it was 2017 or 2018 when we formally launched Philippines
Wow.
Flying Labs. Yeah.
So that is 7
Mhm.
years ago. But what was your motivation? What did you see in the Flying Labs network to say, I think we can join this?
Well, definitely when we started Philippines Flying Labs, I really wanted to do cargo drone, but then the technology was not there yet. It's um, the drones during that time were bulky and expensive and not accessible. So our Philippines Flying Labs projects really were initially for mapping, surveying. Surveying coastal areas in terms of disaster planning, and then but throughout those years, I think Panama started doing cargo drone, and Nepal started doing cargo drone. So in 2022, finally, we were able to have our own cargo drone project here in the Philippines. And since then, we started developing more cargo drone technology, being field testing different types of drones now here in the Philippines.
Now, for impact stories, though you have alluded to some of the work that you have done, can you talk to us about the most impactful project that you have worked on through your Flying Labs?
I think it's the more appropriate case is in Agusan del Sur, and I think we have photos of that. Those where we have to ride those motorcycles retrofitted to have like a long wood on the side where you can carry 10 passengers. So the nurses have to, bring the supplies to the community, and the trip can range from 4 to 6 hours because there are no roads. And sometimes when it gets muddy and it's rainy, and during that time when we went there, it was raining a lot. So it took us 6 hours. And with that also, they were prone to fall down, of course, the balance. So the nurses sometimes sustain injuries doing that. So we were there for, the trip took 6 hours, and then we did the testing for water, um and the results came back within 10 minutes, and the nurses were like so amazed. It's like, oh, that saved us a lot of time physically, mentally, and also, they're so tired, and now they, using drones, they feel like it's safer, their work is safer, so they felt like they can do more, um clinical stuff rather than just doing logistic stuff. So they really were so grateful, and they didn't realize that the 6 hour trip can be shortened to 7 minutes just because, it's a very short distance as the crow flies, as you can say. And so they were really amazed on how um, the drone technology can improve their workflow if we actually integrate it in their system. So I think that's one very dramatic story, and I think and that's why it really pushed me that I'm on the right path. We're doing the right thing, bringing the drone technology in the remote areas, because that's where they need it the most, because they don't have roads, they don't have cars, so it's limited. So I think that's where the most use case for these platforms. Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of good you're doing right there. Listening to
Mhm.
that story is quite inspiring. Like cutting down 6 hours to seven
Yeah.
minutes
Mhm. Mhm.
and reducing people from injury. That's a lot.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of good
Mhm.
work that you're doing right there.
Mhm. And it's
And now,
actually, it's
yeah,
real time. Sometimes they go there like once a month, just because physically it's so hard. So now if you have the drone, they can actually get the supplies within the day, for example, right? Because during that time they forgot to bring a mask, and they said, oh no, we have to wait for the next batch to come in, and then but then we realized we can use the drone. So within, you know 10 minutes, the mask was there, so they were able to continue the clinic. So that's the beauty of having the technology augment the local system. Yeah.
moving on, what currently are you working on that is exciting you the most?
We found a different um cargo drone platform, because we realize um, we need drones that are fully autonomous, meaning the local people should be the one using it, operating it. Just because the ones that we have were so technical that you need lots of pilot experience hours to be able to operate it. So now we're looking at drones from Spain, linking drone, that is fully autonomous, and we have some local communities that are interested in purchasing it. We're in the process of getting the drone, so we're gonna teach the local community to be able to operate it for 3 months, and we're hoping similar communities will have it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that is quite scalable given
Yes.
Philippines is more of islands. So
Mhm.
if you can be able to deploy more drones in many places, I think the better it would be to make a lot of
Yeah, and
impact.
we
Yeah.
tested it also across ocean, so it worked. But again, the distance should be um like within the accepted distance. So that's why it's nice to be working, to be in that network, because we have access to the developers themselves, and they will ask us, so what, and they came here, they saw they saw the local context, they saw the scenario, and I identified the needs. Like, see, we have these neighboring areas that are like more than 7 kilometers, so we need a drone that can travel more than that. So that's the thing, the designers or the developers can actually see the use case here. So yeah, we need to use a drone more that can travel more than 20 kilometers and bigger payload. So at least, they can see how we use it, and the local needs that we have for such technology. Yeah.
Given all these things that you're doing and the dreams you're still chasing and the ambitions, and there are a lot of good projects that you're doing that you just spoke about. If there is a donor, partner, or anyone listening, what would you tell them? What is your message to them?
Well, my message to them is there are still people dying because they don't have access to clean water. They don't have access to essential medicine. Um, imagine dying from pneumonia just because you cannot get antibiotics. And I think um, we should not ignore those people just because of their remoteness, and because of the lack of influence of these people, just because they're in these remote areas. So um, we should make sure that everyone in the Philippines, in remote areas or in any other areas, like, are healthy and happy and free from illnesses. And I think that we can do that by providing, medicines in and essential supplies in real time, and that can be done by the use of drones in remote areas. The drones will not replace people, because that's the fear. Will it replace the local economy? No, it doesn't, because there's nothing to replace anyway, because there's no one doing this before. So it's just, actually, it's an augment. It's um contributing more to the ecosystem. So, and I think if we use drones in a humanitarian way, we can help more people, and um, improve the health conditions of people living in remote areas. So yeah, we can, if there's a funder, we can definitely set up a drone system where the locals will be the one using it and operating it, and hopefully, improving their health outcomes.
If you were to describe the power of local in your own words, what would you say?
Well, the power of local is really harnessing the power of the people on the ground, which has the more knowledge. They have more awareness, situational awareness of their situation. So, the locals know what's best for them. Even if there are some in the global north, they think like this technology will work for the global south. But if they don't have the experience, the life experience of the local people, sometimes the technology won't work, or the local people don't adapt it. So we have to make sure that in everything that we implement, we harness the power of the local people. And actually, it's a misconception that local peoples don't have the technical know-how. The local people are actually knowledgeable. They are experts also. So we have to realize that we should not ignore the opinions of the local people, because the sustainability of each project will depend on the local people, not on the donors or on the developer. Because if the local people don't agree, don't feel like they're being listened to, they would not adopt the technology. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to the Power of Local podcast. I hope you enjoyed hearing from today's guest. If you like this conversation, follow, subscribe, and share the podcast with others. Bye for now, and I look forward to welcoming you to the next episode.